Hey Stampin' friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachel Coon and it's our Wednesdays kit class. I have a really fun one-sheet wonder today for you using a 6x6 piece of DSP. Go ahead and hold while I flip and I will show you and tell you all about it. All right, let's see if that looks okay. You guys can see everything. Let me go just angle it one more second. Sorry. There we go. I feel like that's a little bit better. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are here live, feel free to say something in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, welcome. And I hope you guys enjoy learning how to make these cards today. It's part of our Wednesdays kit class. And so what I do is I will show you how to make these items. And then if you order from my online store between now and Friday, $35 worth, I will send you the items for this kit for free of all the paper items that I'm using today. And I want to just tell you a little bit about one sheet wonders. They're pretty awesome because who doesn't love pretty paper? And today I'm using what's called the Ornate Garden DSP. Let me show you. And this one is one of the ones that are going on discontinuing or is retiring the early May, like May 3rd is the last day you can order this or while supplies last. And one of the fun things about all Stampin' Up! Paper is that it comes with coordinating colors on here. So on here, it'll tell me what colors are used in the paper, and then I'll use that to help me pick my card bases, and the other are mats for each card as well. So these colors in the paper I'm using today, I have the terracotta tile, which is retiring. And then we have the mint macaroon, which is one of my favorites, and I'm using that for the card base today. And then I have, in this paper as well, Old Olive, Bumblebee, and Early Espresso. So all these colors would be great colors to use, and I can just look at my DSP and know which ones I can pick from. So I'm going to go ahead and use today the Early Espresso for our ink. That's what I use in these ones. Let me show you each one of our cards. And on my blog, I have all of the measurements for these and even a little grid sheet to kind of show you how to cut and where to cut. And I'll show you that as well. But this one sheet wonder, so a 6x6 piece of paper, will make 4 different cards. And then after you have those, you'll just need 2 pieces of cardstock to make your card bases and 1 sheet of cardstock for your mats. The mats is the color that we have underneath each card, like that. And it just helps with the framing of each card. So here's one right here, and they're all different layouts, which is super fun to have different layouts, but that coordinate well together. All right, let me go ahead and get our paper cut, and then I'll show you all the supplies that I'm using and that I am changing my card base. I want to show you and teach you about these cards today to let you know that you can switch this up any way that you want and just use what you have. So I'm using the Peaceful Moments stamp set, the Happy Birthday, and the Thank You, which is carrying over into our next catalog because those are 2 words that I use all the time for card making. They are my go-to cards that I always need. Happy birthday and thank you. All right, so let me go ahead and get our trimmer out, and I'll show you how to cut your 6x6. Turn it this way. Oh, nope, I was right the first time. That way so you guys can see what I'm doing. And then all I do, this was a 12x12, and I've cut it down into a 6x6. And then when you cut it, you just want to be mindful of which direction. This one is pretty busy, and there's not a wrong or right way for this one for me. If I wanted to, I could flip it over and use the other side instead, or keep it as is with lots of colors. I'm loving all of these colors, so I'm going to keep that. Before I go any further, I have to give an extra plug to this paper right now. This paper was originally $15 for the specialty because some of it has like some gold accents in it, but it is on sale right now until it's gone because it's retiring for $6. It is such a great deal. So if you love this paper too, be sure to order that as part of your orders between now and Friday. All right, let me go ahead and show you the first cut. Our measurements are going to be either 1.5 on either side. And you can just pick the side you want to do. I'm going to go to my 1.5 mark. Right there, I'll line it up. And then we'll cut it. Just like that. And then I'm going to turn it over this way. Or I could even leave it that way. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's 1.5 on each side. It's kind of like a puzzle, but there's multiple ways that this would fit. So we have our 1.5. That has left us with a 3 by 6. So what we're going to do next is take that 3 by 6 and we're going to cut that in half. So now we're going to cut that at the 3-inch. And I'll come back to these strips in just a second. Here's our 3-inch cut. And this piece right here, we're going to set aside because that's for one particular card. And then we're going to keep this one this direction. So it's also a 3 by 3, but I want my flowers to go this direction. And we're just going to cut 1 inch 3 times or 2 times. We actually only need 2 cuts here. And in my demo for this card, I mismeasured. And instead, I still use the same amount of paper, but just different measurements. So I have one. I'll show you in just a second, that card. So I just did 3 by 1s, but this one, if you look at it, this one's bigger. I accidentally cut that at 1 1/4, and then that one was at 1, and that one's at 3/4. So if you want to have it a little bit different sizes, you can totally do that. And this was an oops moment. So I was pretty excited that it still worked out and kind of show you how you can just play with those numbers a little bit to make the cards look just a little bit different. Okay, so now I have these 3 pieces, and when I go to assemble them, I'll keep them in that way so you can kind of still see it. So that will be like there. All right, we'll set these ones aside. And then let's go ahead and grab one of our 1 1/2 by our 6. And I'm going to cut this one down to 5 1/2. And you'll be left with this little piece right here. You could either throw this piece away, or you can flip it over and use it as another little border if you want. Totally up to you. I usually will just get rid of this piece. It's not something that I can use, so we'll throw that one away. We'll set this side one away as well. And our last piece here, we just need to make squares. So this was a 1 1/2. So we're now going to do 1 1/2 going this direction. And we'll just need to do 3 more cuts for this. The great thing about this one is that Stampin' Up sells their paper in 6 by 6s or by 12 by 12s. So this would work on a 6 by 6 piece of paper, or if you have a 12 by 12 piece, you can make this layout 4 times, which would give you 16 cards, which is pretty awesome. It's a great way to mass produce and use up all that pretty paper. I'm going to throw in a little plug right now. So if this is something you're interested in, wanting to learn how to use your paper better and more often, please join my Pretty Paper Club. It starts in May, and it's a Hostess Club. So you order $25 from me each month using the Hostess Code of that month, and then it's a 6-month commitment. So 1 out of that 6 months, you'll be the hostess, and you'll get to have all the rewards. And the way the Pretty Paper Club works is that I have a paper that I'm going to pick each month, and I will tell you what the paper is, and then I'll send you the card bases so you can make the cards along with me for that club that month. All right, should we get started making these cards? Oh, and I will have a link in my comments below for both how to join that club until May 1st. That's when the deadline is for that one. Let's go ahead and do these ones first because I want to show you. This one I just used ink, and it's both a happy birthday and a thank you. This one sheet wonder is very basic, and so if you don't have a lot of supplies yet, this is a great kind to start with. I did use a label here. This is from the Stitch So Sweetly dies, but you can use a circle punch. You can use any punch that you have that would fit the words that you want to be on this card. Very flexible. Let's go ahead and get this one in view, and we'll get it started. All right, so for this one, I have a couple different mat sizes. And I'll have all these on my blog. This one, no, it's not this one because I already have the thank you, so that's for a different one. And then one of these is a 3x3. So if I get confused, so that one does not match. So this must be the mat for this one. All right. So this mat we're using right now is the 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. And let's go ahead and grab our pieces of DSP that we cut. And when we're gluing these ones, you want to start with the ends. And you can always just place it on there to make sure it's going to look the way you want it to look first. Remember, I want my flowers from where I cut it to match. There we go. Kind of gives me a rough idea. I want to make sure I have a border on all sides and in the middles. And to help with our evening spacing, what we'll do is go ahead and glue the bottom and the top first and then the center one last. And I like to use my liquid glue to help with all of my gluing DSP to the mats today. And I use that one just because it gives me the wiggle that I want. And move those ones off, and then I'll bring this one closer and just kind of shimmy it to get where I want it to be. See, I can move it after I even place it down, which is pretty awesome. All right, let's grab that top piece now. I'll put a little bit of glue on there and line it up here on the top. And we're just going to go ahead and eyeball it, make sure they look like they're the same on each side. Awesome. Oh, thanks, Kay. Kay's card's here, and she says, good afternoon and happy hump day. Yes, it is. It's Wednesday. And I apologize for being earlier today. Our California, the state is opening up more, and so my kids need to be driven around for more events. And one is swim team. My daughter's on a swim team and has practice. And so in order for me to get her there in time, I'm just starting a little bit earlier today. Okay, that looks awesome. Super basic, right? Just gluing on those panels onto that mat right there. And I'm using that terracotta tile today because it is retiring and I wanted to kind of give it a little ode before. However, I am changing my card bases. I use that mint macaroon, but a lot of people don't have a lot of paper yet. So if you're just starting, I want to show you how it still looks really awesome when you use it on a thick basic white. I use thick, you could use thin as well. It just gives you a little bit more stability. And I'm just using our regular size card bases for all of these, which is our 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. All right, let me go ahead and get that in view, and we're gonna stamp right here our thank you and our early espresso. And at this point, I could change my color of ink to make it match my DSP as well. So keep that in mind. If you have other colors and you get this kit from me, you can choose whatever color matches that DSP that you're using or that I've sent you. All right, so we're inking up our thank you. It looks great. And we're just gonna put that right here on the bottom. Right about there. Perfect. Let's close that up. And let's grab our DSP piece right here. On my blog, I have it so it's labeled A card, B card, C card to give you an idea which one needs to be glued to which part. So which mats to go to which DSP. And that's just a way to keep it organized. I'm not going to tell you which one this one is. You'll just have to see it on there. Super cute. I love that on the white. Makes it nice and bright. Let's go ahead and start to fold that a little bit and flip it and grab our bone folder and get it nice and creased. Okay, and there you go. There's our first card. Turns out awesome. Can you kind of see the difference there? So how that one's a different size on the bottom from that 1 inch and how different they look for just by changing the card base. Love it. All right, let me set those ones aside and let's go ahead and do our next one. I said I was going to do, let's see, this one. This one's also very similar because it has these 4 different panels that we're going to glue on to that mat. And I have us stamping on our label this time. Let's grab, and that's this mat here. This one measures as a true square. So that one should be the 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. So there's no wrong way because this is a square. And let's grab those pieces that we have and our little die. All right, so there's no rhyme or reason. Since our paper is pretty busy, I could glue this almost anywhere and it'd be just fine. And that center spot's going to be covered up as well, and so it doesn't really matter. But what does matter is where you start and how you keep on going. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on here, and then we're going to have this one be our starter, the top left corner, and we're just going to look at our borders. And I want this one to be about 1/8 of an inch on all sides. And then this is going to be our guide. So now the next one I do, I'm going to follow along and glue it to match this one. So I'm going to go right underneath it and just push it down a little bit, still giving myself about that 1/8 on the bottom. And again, I'm using that liquid glue, so I have that wiggle. Oh, this is looking so pretty. I love those colors together. All right, let's go ahead and do this one. I'll put that one. This one I can almost turn. Let's have it go in that direction maybe. And we'll get use this as our guide again to come across, and then on the top as well. Awesome. Okay, last one for this card. And these are just 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares that are making this really fun panel look to it. Kind of gives it that mosaic look, right? Awesome. All right, I'm going to glue this onto our card base, and then I'll stamp our label and attach it. Because it is liquid glue, you want to give yourself a little bit of dry time and make sure that you don't put the glue too close to the edge. You can kind of see here where I have about a good 1/4 of an inch that I'm not away from that edge when I glue it. And this one you can place wherever you want on your card base. I go about not quite middle and more towards the top, like that. But you could totally center this one if you wanted to as well. All right, next, let's go ahead and stamp our happy birthday on our cute little label. I did use a lighter shade of yellow, so I didn't use the bumblebee, which was the color that matches, but instead I'm doing a So Saffron. I wanted it to be lighter, so when I stamped things on it, it was easy to see. I'm using the happy birthday. We'll ink that up in our early espresso. And I like this early espresso even more so than just a black for these ones. I think it makes it look really nice. Awesome. And then if you have these, I would recommend using dimensionals to pop up your label. So we'll flip it over. If you don't, it would look just fine with this being flat on here. It really would. So if I glued it on there like that, it'd be fine. But I'm going to give mine just a little bit of pop. So I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on here and kind of make like a triangle. If you wanted to do 4, 1 on each side, you could. But if you want your dimensionals to go a little bit longer, you can only do 3. All right, we'll put that in the center right there. Oh my goodness, this is looking so pretty. Let me go ahead and start to crease that, fold it, and use our bone folder. Let's see how this one looks compared to our original. All right, pretty awesome. Again, I'm loving that white base. Looking amazing. And look how different that pieces of DSP looks, right? This one has a lot more of the terracotta tile in it, and this has more whites and yellows. Super fun though. All right, let's go ahead and change up our next ones. Let's do this one here, which is our thank you. And I want to show you on these ones, I've changed it up a little bit. Sorry, I know it's going blurry. We'll get it back in focus. There we go. I have embossed with my white Stampin' Emboss powder and my heat tool and Versamark. And I did that beforehand because it's just an extra step. But if you wanted to keep on just stamping, if you don't have those items, just go ahead and stamp again with your early espresso here on the bottom, and you'd be just fine. All right, so here's this one, and that piece of DSP was just that 3 by 3, super simple. And this one here measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. let's go ahead and add our liquid glue. And this one, we actually get to embellish a little bit. So this one's stepping it up just a little bit. Those two first ones we made were very basic. I didn't embellish it at all. I did use a dimensional, so that was an extra little part, but very beginner and easy to make. This one, we're just adding a little bit of ribbon. This is the Ornate Garden combo ribbon pack. There we go. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab it and put it across. And I measure about 1 inch on one side, 1 inch on the other. Just like that. And then while we have this here, I'm going to cut maybe about 3 inches more. Just like that. And we're going to grab some tear tape. So here's what tear tape looks like. If you don't have this, you could use a double-sided adhesive like your seal on the back of it as well and get it to stick. I love my tear tape because it's super strong, and I know I feel really good about where it's going to stay. Okay, so I want this to cover up this line here. I don't want people to see where the DSP meets the cardstock, so we're just going to use this as a border like that. And you're just going to fold it over on one end and attach it with your tear tape. If you just have regular tape, that's fine too, or adhesive of your choice. Even a glue dot would help you keep that down. Then we're going to stretch this out, and then we're going to fold it over on this end. Again, we can use that tear tape to secure it down. And I don't even remove the back of this tear tape. You could if you wanted to have that extra stick to it, but I just leave it on there. Okay, now that part's ready, so we just need our card base. And we can attach this. And then I'll show you how to make an easy fake bow instead of a real bow just by tying a knot. Okay. Go ahead and flip this over and try to get it about center so that we have borders on all sides. That looks pretty good. And then lay it flat. If you ever having trouble with your liquid glue, just grab a big book or block and you can lay it right on top to help give that extra pressure and have it attached. The glue really doesn't take too long to dry, but just in case you've used a lot of it. All right, so I'm just slipping this piece of ribbon, as like I said, about 3 inches, maybe 4, underneath our ribbon here. And I'm going to take the ends and just tie a simple knot. And I'm going to pull it tight and cut off the ends. And that gives the look of a fake bow without all the fuss. And look how easy that was, right? And it doesn't add as much layers or bulk too. If you're sending this in the mail and you're worried about a big bow adding too much thickness, there we go. Super cute and easy. If you want to secure this knot a little bit more, you can go ahead and put a glue dot underneath that, and that would make it stick flush down. I kind of like mine to be just kind of hanging, and if I didn't like this location, because it isn't secure, I could always slide it to another position, just like that. Fun, right? All right, and then you can always tighten it as well. All right, let me go ahead and fold it and crease it, my bone folder. And let's see how this one turned out. Oh, super pretty. I love that. And this paper is just so pretty that it really does a lot of the busy work for us. So I've only stamped one item, but it looks like I've done so much more because of that paper, that pretty paper. All right, this is our last one. It's also very basic, and I did go ahead and emboss on our label the happy birthday beforehand. Looks great. I love that white on colored cardstock. It looks amazing. And this is our piece of DSP. That is the 5.5. So the full length of our card front, and it is a 1.5. Go ahead and add our liquid glue onto this one, and we're going to add it to our mat. Of course, if you want to, you can always embellish these. I've left these ones very plain just to show you how simple the card can be, but you can always add rhinestones to these, your favorite kind of embellishments, linen thread if you wanted. That's one of my go-tos, rhinestones and linen thread. All right, so this one we're gonna have about a good, probably have a 1/4 inch. Let me get this one in view, sorry. About, yeah, a 1/4 inch on this side, and just line it up from top to bottom, just like that. Perfect. Again, I use dimensionals on the back of this one to give it just a little pop. And we'll do those 3. Like that. You guys will have to let me know. Kay says she loves that white base. Yes, that white base is pretty awesome. It just makes it pop, right? And I'm going to have it so it's attached a little bit on this side of our DSP, but mostly on the white of our card base. Just like that. Let's go ahead and fold it and use our bone folder. All right, there's our last card. Isn't that amazing? This is that one sheet wonder using a 6x6 piece of paper, a DSP. Let me go ahead and get all of our cards back in view so you can see what we made today. So we have this fun one with our bow, and then we have our 4 squares, and lastly we have the 3 panels right there. Super fun. And because it is a one wonder, I didn't really focus on the stamp set, so you can use any stamp set you want and any paper you want. I hope you guys had a great time learning how to make this style of cards and give it a try. Be sure to order from me between now and Friday, and I will send you all the paper items to make 4 of these cards. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.